All right, so this is from a coaching meeting that we had, and there's some extra things up here, talking about concepts of what Keppner boxing is, but here are some boxing concepts specific. So first is effective jab. What makes an effective jab? Doing the step with the jab, because that makes the power with it. Also, if you're a shorter boxer like Trey or myself, it gets you in, because step out, just extend your jab. He's never going to get it. He's got to learn how to step, bring that back foot with him, come up in so he gets inside, because if I'm a lot longer than him, I keep him at the end and say this is the end of my punch, and he's here, put out your jab, never going to get it. So, let's see, what else? So twisting the fist over with the punch. It's going to make more power at the end. Think about it. If you do a jab like this, it still does things, but this is more snap, and it gets you more shoulder behind it as well. Then also squeezing at the end of the punch, obviously, hitting with the knuckles, scoring punch, things like that are very important. Bringing it back. A lot of times, people will put out their jab like this, and what's something you could get off that, Trey? You could get that because it's out there, but I could deflect it up. Yep. Yeah, the body. That's right. But we definitely, if I'm leaving it out there, you can definitely cross me to the right, definitely, because I'm not popping it back. But yeah, that body is really the biggest culprit, but both. So you want to, but if you learn to snap that jab right back, bam, I'm right back, bam, I'm right back, do your counter. See, I'm right back every time. Good habits to get into, not leaving it out. So bring it back, bring the back leg. So it's easy to jab, leave the back leg, not bring it with you. Can cause a lot of problems in a lot of different ways. Then a slight bend of the arm. Important note to not hyperextend the jab out as you throw it, because you're going to jack up your elbow, and it's going to cause a lot of joint problems. Also, the punch isn't quite as powerful as when you lock it and have that intentional lock on the arm. And add any points you want to do this. Breathing on the punch, of course. Don't push the punch. Again, that goes along. Real quick, get up. A lot of times people will like push the jab out there to try to control, and it can throw somebody off, but it's also that problem of leaving it out too far that we talked about. Also, too, off of this push, brush it for the side. You can brush it better and throw off of it. But if I'm snapping it, it's really hard to time that brush. Then, so don't push, don't drop before you throw. Something we're working on. I was actually working on with someone with this one. Is some people will tend to do this. They'll load it up, bam. Yeah. Load it up, bam. And if Trey's boxing me, and every time he sees me go, well, yep, he can touch me with the jab or right hand. Yeah. It's deadly every time, right? Whop, bam, before I even get a chance to shoot my jab. Because remember, the jab is a great defensive punch to throw. And if every time I'm about to launch it, though, I'm opening, it's not a good defensive punch. But do your right hand again. If I shoot out straight, we can run into each other. I can control, and I can defend myself. So making sure it's just a straight line out. One way it's described is like reaching off and grabbing something off the shelf, and pulling it right back. So don't drop before you throw. Mix up the pattern. So sometimes like different timing, or like Trey, what's that high-low move that you do?
Oh yeah, I like to do up here.
Up here, bam, drop them down low. Yep.
Take them out. Take them up top, and then like drop down low.
That's right. We were watching Andy Ruiz actually do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the other day, or that fight study. And so mix up the timing. Snappy jab, a little bit slower, still good form, but just change up the time, change up the speed, change up the power. So let's see. Position with the jab variation, that goes along with it, but also being able to throw the jab off of more here, being able to lean over here, bam, things like that. Catching with the jab, very important thing, especially for shorter guys like Trey and myself. Again, if I'm a longer person, switch positions. If I'm super long and Trey jabs with me, like this, catch with the jab. I don't have to worry about catching necessarily, but if Trey manages to get past my jab at some point, then I definitely need to be able to worry about it. So it's important for anyone, but especially if you're a medium-sized boxer, not crazy tall, or shorter like ourselves, you need to be able to step in and be able to expect that catch, because one thing to think about why that's important is that if I'm stepping in, don't even move, I'm stepping in, this fist is already getting bigger in my face. Visually, it's already getting bigger. So therefore, it's very hard to tell if it's getting bigger faster or slower and running into my face as I'm stepping in. So very important note to think about. Keeping the elbow in with the jab. Something that so many of us have problems with, and so many boxers have problems with, is it's so easy to do it wrong. Flare that elbow up real bad. Flaring it out to the side. Turn it a little bit over here. Face me here. See that elbow flaring out? And again, just opens up the body unnecessarily. And also the jab isn't as snappier. Now do it right a couple times right here. On my face. See, popping it right in. It's really hard to get a shot off that. But do like a couple doubles with it out. Bam. Oh, with it out. There you go. See? It's wide open for him. Let's see. Elbow in. Lean forward. Ooh, big thing. For any boxer, again, the medium-sized, short boxer is very important, but long boxers as well. You don't want to give up your length by leaning in. If I'm a lot taller than Trey, and I jab at Trey, and you slip for the rear side, and I leaned, what's he got? Bam, he's got the body, he's got the big uppercut. I gave it to him, I smothered myself. And same thing as a short boxer, if you lunge in, the tall guy can do the same thing. Slip the shot, whatever, or just like throw a jab, fall in with it. Here, bam, step out a little bit, shoot a shot here, and he's stuck there for a moment. All right, so that's the keys of an effective jab that we talked about. Now let's talk about the advantages of hand defense. What's the advantages? Your balance is easier. Sometimes when you move your head a lot or move your feet a lot, people get out of position. That's an important thing to think about. It's less committal. So if Trey shoot a shot out, I'm here, I don't move very much. I just little movement, I'm here. Whatever he throws, mix something up like that. See? I'm there as little movements. It's not overcommitting to any position if I do it correctly. So by that nature, it's faster. It gives you more options because I keep my position. If I put out a right hand, if I move my head, slip over here, I'm limited in some things I can do. Sure, I'm generated for power for certain shots, but I'm also limited in what I can do. It's a better default. That's why we teach it as the initial. Less energy. Sometimes moving the feet a bunch or moving the head a bunch can be tiring. You see the whole picture, your vision's there. A lot of times when you're moving your head a lot, right, Joe, you ever experienced that?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to see what's coming, especially if you do bad head movement technique where you look away, but even good head movement technique, everything's moving, so it's a little harder to see things. So what's the disadvantages? It can be too predictable, right? If you always know someone's going to be catching your jab, what's something you could always do if I'm always catching your jab? Bam, touch me with the hook, right? It's a higher contact rate, man. My arms can get tired from Trey beating my arms in. Then it can preserve the opponent's balance. This is an important note to think about. Is let's say every time I throw a Trey, he blocks my right hand. So he blocks my right hand, oh, block my right hand. So I'm here, he blocks it every time, right? As his hand defense, or he catches it, whichever. I'm always on balance to rip a big hook afterwards. But let's say he slips my right hand, and I fall off balance. I'm not able to come back with my shot, and I'm also tiring myself out more. And he's taking less damage like we touched on. So think about that. If he always blocks his right hand, block the right hand, here, it's always keeping me set to do a big follow-up on something. But just bob under it. If he makes me miss, there's going to be a longer period of time before I come back. Yep, and then while that's happening, he can hit me or what have you. And also, it keeps your hands busy. One of the ideas of like the peekaboo boxing style is it keeps both hands free to throw, and there's definitely some truth behind that. Now, let's talk about the advantages of head movement, using your head for the defense, moving the head for defense. It can create different angles and different openings, like we touched on earlier with the hand defense. It's no contact, again, like we touched on again. You're going to take less damage theoretically to your arms, as long as you're throwing head punches. It can set up power punches better. So again, like slip for your lead side, Trey. So Trey slips, he's so ripped up with that big power shot off that. It can keep your vision to a certain extent. So even though we talk about vision for here, this is true here as well. Because think about it. If Trey, is up here, he can't see what the heck I'm doing. But do a slip. He bob or slip, he can see. He can see. So sure, he's in a position, but he can still see. So it can sometimes preserve vision better. It's a moving target, man. If Trey, do your TikTok kind of pattern. If he's moving that head, and I shoot over one side, it's here, it's a moving target, man. Now my eyes start following his head. They're not looking at his chest and not noticing what punches are coming. The important thing to watch out for. Give me a weave pattern real quick. Just weaving. Just do weaving, just like predictable like that. Even a predictable weave like that, it can be hard for me to throw some shots off of that, especially when I get in a certain rhythm that matches like that, and he's just mindlessly weaving. So now let's talk about moving target. It can be frustrating and tiring for an opponent, like that, like trying to hit that. One thing is like Joe Frazier when he fought Muhammad Ali, Eddie Futch, his coach, wanted his head to be like a speed bag when it's hit off center, right? And so it's very erratic, and that's where Ali tried to chase that thing all night because he really wanted to hit it, but he just couldn't get it. Now let's talk about what is the disadvantages that we touched on. Bad balance. So oftentimes it can put you in positions that are not favorable. If you're always slipping over, it's a little bit easier sometimes to be knocked off balance. It can be more energy, like you've experienced, right? If you just do like a non-stop Tyson-esque type head movement, or Joe Frazier, it can be tiring. It's not as fast. The counters can't be necessarily quite as fast. If Trey, for instance, like block my right hand and come back with the right hand. Bah. Oh, block it with this hand here, come back. Bah, bah. Yep, do it real quick. Bah, bah. See, real fast. Now, let's say he was to slip and come back with the hook. It would be just a little bit slower. There's going to be more power, but it's a little bit slower. The timing can be different. Also, too, think about it, like catch my jab, come back with a jab quickly. Even quicker. Yep. Now, if he does a slip and then a jab, do that. Yep, it's a little bit slower, right? Just a tad slower, just a tad slower. Now, granted, even when you did that, I was kind of like, whoa, something different happened. So it can do different things, open up things, and it can serve as a feint. That's actually something that's not touched on here, is that the head movement can serve as a feint. And so if I'm bobbing, you're concerned, right? And you've seen that work with people, right? Not as fast, potentially dangerous, because you can run your head into a punch. Let's say Trey always bobs my shots, and he might run his head right into an uppercut, right? So it can be potentially dangerous, and it can be potentially predictable too, especially if we're rocking a TikTok pattern all the time, for instance. So yeah, so those are some of the notes we talked about here, and some of the advantages, disadvantages, different types of style, techniques, head movements, and what makes an effective jab.